Gonzaga's been a dominant force in basketball recently, so they finally left their conference to join the Pac-12, but their football team hasn't taken the field in over 80 years. Today I'm reviving that program in College Football 25, as with the new Pac-12 money, they can fund their football team, but I'm not set up for success whenever they're the worst team in the country. It's gonna make completing these 6 challenges with the Bulldogs very difficult, but I'm excited to see how this new Pac-12 is gonna play out. Now, I made this roster as bad as I could. It's their first year with a football program in so many years, which means we're gonna have to recruit well, but I don't have many hours to scout all these players. I didn't find any gems besides Tyler Hurt, an athlete, and I think he'd make for a decent quarterback, but his accuracies aren't that high. We're going to be targeting him, a bunch of other 3 stars, and then 1 4-star receiver that is 95 speed. But our odds of getting most of those players might not be too high, so we're just going to hop into one against Washington. I want to see how bad this team really is, and to make sure that I build a good roster in this rebuild. I'm only allowed to play 3 regular season games a year, which is going to make things tough. Let's just say that this team has been terrible. There has not been very much hope for us. Our running back is so slow. And the ultimate goal is to take this Gonzaga team and win a national championship with them, but I'm not sure that's going to be possible. It was not a pretty first game for the football program coming back. I'm impressed that we got a field goal. And I think my first move when it comes to upgrading my coach is going to be putting points into this recruiter tree. We're going to go down to tier 3 for wide receivers. This will allow us to put 65 hours a week on Nicholas Bullock, which I'm hoping as we get through this first season will allow us to sign the only 4-star that we're targeting in this class. With how bad our school grades are, I'm not even sure it's worth it to hard sell. There's so many that are in the D's or the C's. And I think we're just going to sim every matchup until we play an FCS school. That's the game I was going to have Nicholas come visit our school for, but apparently we would only lose points if we lost to the Pandas. We wouldn't gain any, so we'll put him on a bye week. Going into this matchup, we're coming off of 2 games where we didn't score a single point. We've given up over 50 in every single one. So my expectations are not that high, especially since we are the lower overall team. Football is back here at Gonzaga, and we're going for the kickoff return already. But instead, we fumbled it away. I cannot stress enough how terrible this team really is. We just missed our tackle. And it's probably about to be another long day for us. With 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter, we've only been able to get 6 points, though we might be able to pick up this 4th down, and Pinter is going to run for it. A comeback could still be on the table. We're just going to have to get into the end zone. And here on 4th and 8, we're going to have to pick this one up. I thought rolling out could help, but instead, they've stopped us once again. It's embarrassing, but this team is not ready for a good first season. So getting somebody like Tyler Hurt, a Gym 3-star to commit's a big deal. But Washington is threatened to steal most of the other players that we're going after in this recruiting class. That linebacker's gone. Oregon State's going to beat us out for this tight end, and then they took this left tackle. I'll also say that Nicholas Bullock's probably going to come down to the wire, but our hard sell on him's not good. The only thing we can offer is playing time. In order to even build this roster, I might have to start going after 2-star prospects. And it's safe to say that the next few weeks were probably some of the worst I've ever had. We started Pac-12 playing, got blown out by our rivals, Washington State. But even worse, we lost the 4-star receiver to Washington, and all of these 3 stars chose other schools besides this one right end. In response, I filled up our board with other 3 stars from around the country, but most of them are on the other side of the US, so they might not commit either, and it's not like we're gonna win any games. With that in mind, there's no reason to play any of these matchups. Our closest margin was against Fresno State, and they still beat us by 3 possessions, so all around, it's been the rough season that we were expecting, but we could close out on some of these 3 stars. We already did on this linebacker. The first year of the new Pac-12, this is what the standings look like as well. Everybody was at 500 or better besides us, and we even had 2 teams in the top 25. That's pretty impressive, and it's going to give us a B- conference prestige, but it also means we're going to be the worst team in our conference for a while. Our starting quarterback only threw for 2 touchdowns. Then at running back, freshman Marquise Ibrahim rushed for 2.3 yards per carry. And our best wide receiver was somebody that was at linebacker, and I moved him over here to drop our overall even more. It's hard to have some positive takeaways, but we are getting some 3 stars. And when it comes to these coordinators, I'm just going to go ahead and fire this virgin. We have got to have a better offense. It feels like it would be impossible to have a worse season next year than what we did this year, and I'm also going to bring on this defensive coordinator. For early national signing day, we actually have 7 commits. We're about to look at some of these player dev traits. They all seem to be normal, though. I couldn't scout any of these guys, and impact is the best we're going to get on Tyler Hurt. It's definitely a rough class, and you know what? I think I'm going to go after Joel Fitzpatrick for our offensive coordinator because he is an elite recruiter. I'm excited for him. He specializes on quarterbacks and wide receivers, so we should probably run like an air raid offense, and then on the defensive side of things, we have a big motivator. The foundation is set. It's only up from here, and there were 2 ACC teams in the national championship. To my surprise as well, nobody transferred out, and we're going to have a chance to use the transfer portal to see if we can get any of these players in. in. We'll see how all this works out for us. My expectations aren't that high, but there are a couple junior quarterbacks that we could bring in, and I have to remember to keep an eye on some of the wide receivers we've signed. With 40 coach points available, I'm also going to start getting some of these positions down to tier 3 because that should help us out a bit in recruiting next season, and we'll work on the quarterbacks eventually. We'll need a good quarterback for our future, but we also have some transfers coming in. And at the end of the day, I've made a lot of blind signings. I haven't scouted most of these players, but we're going to find someone like a star linebacker. And our total class size for this first season is sitting at 22 players, so that should help us out quite a bit. We've also lucked out with our final player. He's a 3-star athlete, and I can't wait to see what position we put him at. This class has to be a bit better than 78. A ranking like that just tells you that we have a long way to go. Colin Kinder, though, is going to come in as a strong safety. That's probably the best place to put him, maybe even linebacker. What's going to really make a difference whether or not we're decent next year, though, is the training results. It says we're a 73 overall. I don't believe it. I mean, we have a few players above a 73. But more importantly, even though Coach XP's speed setting is set to slowest, and we just went 0-12 in our first season, we have 80 coach points to spend. So what I'm going to do inside this recruiter tab is get us up to tier 2. I don't want to go to tier 3. We don't need more hours to put on each position, but I would like our recruiting actions to get a little bit of a bonus. We'll also start to go down the motivator pathway to see what positions we can dump some points into. And at least for now, I've just maxed out both our DBs and our wide receivers. This feels like we're taking a positive step in the right direction. Both of the transfer quarterbacks come in at high overalls, but I think we have to start Jacob. A 77, at least for this team, is pretty good. His accuracies could be better though. And looking over at our freshman quarterback, Tyler Hart, his skill caps are so important, which are actually pretty good. We're going to redshirt him. I'm going to do the same with elite dev Colin Kinder. I want to keep our good players around for as long as possible, but with about 10 total true freshmen redshirted, what that means for this season is I'm expecting us to go 0-12 again. There's a couple winnable games on our schedule like an FCS school, but what's more important to me is filling out these team needs, because on the defensive side of the ball, we have a team need at every single position. I've also learned with these school grades, we can't go after anybody too good, so we're mainly going to target 3 stars again, but I might sneak 1 or 2 4 stars in the list as well. What's nice about being able to scout players quicker this season is I have found 6 different gyms for us to put our hours into, and Warren at wide receiver is probably the guy to highlight right here, but because we have such limited hours, I'm only able to go after 6 prospects. The good thing about putting that many hours in the players though is we should be able to sign them. I don't see us beating Utah. And we didn't. We lost 44-7, but we play Central Michigan the following week. I have to assume that they're more on our level, even though they are an 81 overall. And I'm just hoping the transfer quarterback can really take over here. You know, it hasn't been a perfect first half, but we have been able to score 7 points. But there's been a ton of missed throws like that one right there, and our defense hasn't been much better, though I think we're about to hold them to a field goal. Are we going to be able to come back from this? Probably not, but their kicker just shanked a super easy kick. With momentum on our side, we have got to be the next team to score points. I think there was some PI right there though, and this is a big opportunity. Can Gonzaga win their first game as a football program again? Running the ball has allowed us to continue moving the chains, and we are just gonna have to spin to the inside here, but we still didn't get enough for a touchdown, and now we're just gonna have to cut it up with Ibrahim. He might be small, but at least he's got us in the end zone, and it's crucial that they only get a field goal out of this drive, but they catch a touchdown. That is probably gonna do it. It's gonna be difficult for us to come back at this point in the game, but we hold on to the ball, and freshman wide receiver Forrest Higgins hasn't been bad. We also beat the press on the right side of the field, and we dropped it in the end zone. That was literally it right there. That was all that we needed. Now we can't drop this, and we'll see if Mon can get open again. I feel like that should be placed really well. Jacob Nuth has transferred in, trying to make a difference for this team, and he just might. But even if we do get into the end zone right here, our defense is still going to have to get a stop, and we have it. What we don't have though is the ball back. It is 3rd down. All we have to do is have some good coverage out there, and they just made one of the best catches I think I've seen in a long time. That's it. We can run commit, we can call timeouts, but we're basically just out of this game, and that's such an unfortunate way to go out. They're actually throwing the ball here on 3rd down though. We're gonna get the interception. Hang on, we still have a chance. 1 minute on the clock, no timeouts. We have to go 95 yards down the field, and this could be it. Now it was an inaccurate throw, but apparently there was PI right there. So here we go. I see that they're pressing Higgins. I'm not sure if he is fast enough. I don't really know this core well, but 1 sack won't be the end of the world. I'm gonna throw to the comeback route right here. Higgins gets open, and we still have over 30 seconds left in this game. Man-to-man coverage again though, and throwing it away could be a smart option, but hitting the crosser seemed like a better one, and they're going to get the pick. I thought I could fit it into that window. I thought we were going to be able to place it better, but this isn't NCAA Football 14. 4 verticals isn't as overpowered, and I could be upset that we lost, but I'm just happy we put up that good of a fight. We scored more points there than we did in any of our games last year, and I'm going to circle this FCS school coming up on the schedule. We might not win a game until then, but that could be a special moment for the program, and I think we're going to sign all 6 of these 3-star gyms. We just beat out Washington for this right tackle. By week 6, we are 0-4, and we did take a couple of bad losses, but you see who's up next. So this is our time to shine. We could really make a statement with a win here. We've also officially brought in all 6 of these 3-star gyms. I'm about to start scouting and looking for more of them, but before that, we have this game to handle. It's been a battle though. It hasn't been the free win that I thought it might be. Approaching the end of the 3rd quarter, we find ourselves down by 5, but we're driving down the field and fighting for more. Ibrahim's turning out to be one of the only players on this offense that I can actually trust. We've also hit a ton of drags, but we have to do whatever it takes to win this game, and handing it off, we're going into the end zone. Our fans are excited. They want to see our first win, but whether or not we actually get that all comes down to what our defense can do. Here on 3rd and 10 with 2 minutes left, we seem to be holding them, but we're generating no pressure, and we just got to click on to make this interception. Stoner is going to seal it. After we didn't get the 2-point conversion, it's been a weird 4th quarter, but we just need a first down, and that would officially do it. I didn't realize that they still had 3 timeouts. All of a sudden, it is 3rd and 7. The pressure is on right here, though we should be able to complete this, and we've been marked short on a 4th and inches. I think we have to be aggressive and go for it right here, as that's going to get the game sealed. That was a little bit risky. It was a tight finish, but we have come out on top. And after bringing back their football program, Gonzaga finally has a win. Now, it took a little bit of time, but I found some more 3-star gyms for us to go after. A 93 speed athlete that's supposed to be a running back, and then another option at quarterback in James Perriman. But we can't pour as many hours into those players, which could be an issue. Now we're playing at Fresno State. That didn't go very well for us, and then Boise State blew us out 63-7. But they've been on a tear, and now we're about to play our rivals. Washington State's only about an hour away from Spokane, which is where the Bulldogs play. And looking at the challenges list, this is by far the easiest thing that we could knock off. Pulling it off is a whole other challenge though. With a couple of minutes left, we find ourselves down by 1. And all we have to do is get into field goal range to win this game, but that is a lot easier said than done. I'm going to try to escape the pocket here, and Nuth gets the first. Now they're coming out very aggressively. It looked like they were going to give us a cover 0 look. Instead, though, we're going to have the deep post, and we just got to go down. From here, we should be able to run out the rest of the clock. I'm not sure why I'm even throwing, but we just dropped the ball for no reason. I don't know what that animation was. I might have actually blown this. It is now 3rd and 10. They're going to have a chance to get it back unless we're able to move the chains here, which it's going to be close. They're saying it's 4th and inches. I'm just going to do the smart thing here and kick our field goal, even though I don't want to, because as well as our defense has played, I understand that we're going to have to hold them one more time. That is difficult to do. All they have to do is get in field goal range, and I'm not sure where that's at for them, but I feel like they're already getting kind of close. I thought I'd lurked the computer right there, but I didn't. Now we're in some trouble. I feel like we almost have to let them get into the end zone so we have a chance to get the ball back and score, but that hurts right there. Now I really wish that I would have just gone for it on 4th and inches. We have to drive down the entire field. This offense is definitely improved, but I'm not sure if it's good enough to pull that off. And after dropping that pass, it is now 3rd and 6 where I'm going down. Here we go. We have got to move the chains right here. We have no choice. I couldn't even get it out. And that loss is actually pretty frustrating. We had the win in our hands. Maybe next season we'll knock off our first challenge. But I have seen enough of this team for this season. We get to sim these final 4 matchups because I've already hopped into 3 regular season games. And that allows me to focus on recruiting, where it's looking pretty good for these 3 players. But Kentucky, my favorite team, is giving us an issue on Avery Simons. By the end of the year, though, it wouldn't matter. We've signed all 3 of these guys, including James Perriman, the quarterback. But he might not be our future either, because I just found Sterling Turk. He's not a gym, but he comes in with 95 throw power and 90 speed. Alongside all the gyms that we've brought in as well, I am bringing in other 3-stars. You can't only go after gyms. So I'm hoping that we can close those battles out. As you can see, we did not finish the season strong. At least we weren't the only team in our conference under 500 though. San Diego State joined us. And our senior transfer quarterback threw for 15 touchdowns. That's a step up from 2, but he had 23 interceptions just like we did last year. One player I can talk good about though is our running back Ibrahim. He went from averaging 2.3 yards per carry to 5.6. That is a huge step up for the sophomore. And then receiving wise, it looks like Taylor Mon, the true freshman, was our #1 receiver, but Max Johns, the senior's #2. I haven't done a great job at recruiting at that position, but Warren Clemens could help with that. And I'm not sure if I want to fire either of these coordinators. I feel like they could progress pretty nicely. Because of Joel Fitzpatrick, we should have no issues recruiting on offense. I've never even gone down this strategist tree, but apparently hopefully it's really helpful with some of these tiers. Then our defensive coordinator is a motivator, a recruiter, and a tactician. He is a 3-in-1. Once again, we have a solid foundation. It's time to learn some of these player dev traits, and nothing's surprising me yet, but we have elite on a 3-star cornerback with 96 speed. As we continue to go up, I am more and more nervous. I don't want to see impacts. I want to see stars like on this receiver. And the big two are these running back and quarterbacks coming up. Josh is a star with 93 speed. Impact on James Perriman though. These recruits might not make us a playoff level team, but they should help us make a bowl game eventually. And in the 2 years I've been at Gonzaga, only one player's transferred out. More importantly though, we're losing some of these seniors that started for us. So we need to replace them in the portal, but there's only 4 players that are even interested in playing for the Bulldogs. I kinda understand why though, as I look at our school grades for some of these other prospects. That means any commit that we can get like Sterling Turk, I have to take. And I am gonna spend 10 coach points to make it to where we can put more points on running backs and more points on quarterbacks for next year. That's helped us pick up this transfer running back, and I guess we got the other one as well. And apparently this class is ranked higher than the last one we got. I would have put it above it either way just because of all the gyms we found, but we must have secured it during the transfer portal period. Sterling Turk is normal dev though, so he's probably never going to start at quarterback for us, which really stinks. This is the important player though, star dev athlete Josh D'Impero. I think we're just going to put him at halfback like he's supposed to be. With the transfers, we have a lot of players at that position at the moment, so we're probably just going to redshirt him. And this training results is huge for this team. I don't know who we're starting at quarterback yet. It says we're an 80 overall. We might actually be. We got some really good progression. Remember Frank Stoner, the cornerback that got that interception? Well, he's up to an 83 overall, though he can't get much better. That's our best player. And then in the quarterback room, I think we're just going to have to start Tyler Hurt. That's what I was expecting. I'm also going to encourage a lot of players to transfer that we don't need just because I feel like some positions are overrun. And I'll admit, I've missed on some of these signings. Like, why did I get a wide receiver with 84 speed? This next year, I'm going to be even more intentional about the type of guys that we bring in. We can probably still only go after 3 stars, so that's mainly what I'm going to target. But just looking over our roster, it's very clear to me that at the moment, we have like no safeties on our team next year. I'm going to have to recruit a ton of DBs, and we're going to redshirt players that aren't going to see the field. In recruiting, I have found 9 different gyms that we could go after, but unfortunately, we only have 400 hours to put on players each week, so there's some players I'm going to have to skip over. Running back Channing Burrow would have been amazing, but I have to be realistic. We're probably not going to get the 4-star, and trying to get some of these DBs are way more important. I also found a wide receiver 91 speed with takeoff. I'm really just hoping we end up signing all those guys. Our first game of the season's against Texas State, and I think I have to play that one because after that we're probably going to lose 3 straight. We should beat an FCS team in sim, and then we're going to play against Washington State, our rivals. It's time to see what this roster can do, but keep in mind, redshirting these 2 freshman receivers means that the receivers we have out there on the field right now are super slow. It makes it super challenging to efficiently move the ball. Here on 3rd and 7 with about 6 minutes left though, Ibrahim's going to help us pick up the first down, and he's still going. That is a big moment for this team. If we can drive down the field and get at least a field goal here, we'll take a lead. And we're just going to go with the RPO. Alonzo Singleton's going to take the handoff, and using his speed, he's able to get around all these players. He is a beast. We have 2 solid running backs that we're able to rotate between, and I'm happy about that, especially since Singleton got injured last year and he wasn't able to play. But we're now on a 3rd and 12 that we need to make sure we convert. Our hitch route is open, and it's held onto by Mond. He was our leading receiver last year. He's probably one of the only guys on this team that we can trust. Now we're going to the outside, and you can just tell that they're going to make it hard to get into the end zone here. On 3rd and goal, we're going with another run, and the blocks look good. But we have to be able to stop the Bobcats from getting into the end zone, and they're just going to take this hitch route. 27 seconds left in this game. The pressure is really on, but they decide to go with a quarterback run. So I guess they're not going to pass down here. We have to be prepared for them to scramble too, and on the run, we're not knocking it loose. We had a guy right there that should have been able to do that. Now we're not getting into field goal range in this time, which means we're going to have to go to overtime versus Texas State unless we can get a super lucky one-on-one catch right here, and that didn't happen. The computer is not smart, so they're going to keep on pressing, though we know we don't have the speed to beat them deep. That is what's so frustrating about it. We better get ready for overtime, though, where we get to start with the football, and we're not going anywhere. We've been a running team all game, though. We're going to keep on running. It's gotta work. And on 4th and 1, you know we're putting the ball in the hands of our 5'6" running back. Looking back on it, that probably wasn't the smartest move, but we put up a good fight to start the season again. Every time we get in these close games, I'm satisfied because we have not had any success. But we might be in recruiting. At the moment, we have a lead on every single one of these prospects, even the 4-star cornerback, but I feel like Washington's about to come back. We're about to play them in the game. I don't see us winning this, especially since Utah held us to 6 points, and then we have to follow it up playing at Arizona. Like expected, we lost both games, but the Arizona one was far worse, 59-3, while Washington only beat us 24-16. That makes us 0-4 going into this match against an FCS school. It's our only chance to get a win every season. But I'm feeling pretty good anyway because we already got these 2 gyms to commit, and both of these corners should commit if we're able to come out on top of this game. Signing our first 4 stars on the line at the moment. And it's never going to be an easy game for us at this point in the rebuild, but Hurt has led us down the field, so he has a chance to get his first win as the starter, handing this ball off, and we're about to go up 2 possessions. We are so close to finishing this drive off. We just need our offensive line to hold. And it should not be this challenging versus an FCS school. I mean, I've built the defense well. We have them on a 4th and 10. This could end the game as long as we make the tackle. But our defense can't carry us forever, especially when we play against better teams. 23 rushes for 57 yards is a pretty disgusting stat line. But Dom Britton loves how we played defensively, so we've signed our first 4-star at cornerback. We also got Joseph Michael. One of these guys is probably getting moved over to safety. And even Teddy Scaloli, the 91 speed wide receiver that's a gym, has committed, so we have now made 5 signings, and I can start to go after this 4-star running back. Now, I should probably mention, we are going after another gym at wide receiver. Ben Gammon is terrible, though. He only has 84 speed, so I'm not sure if I even want it. I'm also very glad I decided to hop into our game against FCS West because it led to those commits, but now we can only play 1 more game this season, and I think it has to be against Washington State. They're an 84 overall, but we need to try and complete a challenge. So that's what we've gone for here. We've only given up 7 points in this game. We just haven't scored. Going forward on 4th and 3 might be dumb, but it told me to. It said we couldn't hit a field goal from here. And then Washington State would follow that up with a touchdown of their own. Our 2 best receivers are being redshirted right now, though, so I have that excuse at least. We just haven't had that much talent at that position. And if they're not giving us the first down there, this one's definitely done. Maybe one year we'll be able to take down Washington State. We can't keep getting embarrassed in front of our home crowd. But that basically just solidifies it's going to be another year struggle, and the 4-star running back is going to go to Colorado. We put up a good fight for him, but it wasn't enough. At least we're going to get some of these other prospects. And trust me, our issues at defensive back are going to be taken care of as we get through the rest of season 3. We're currently 1-7. We just put up a really good fight against number 14 Oregon State, though. And it looks like Boise State's kind of fallen off this season, though other teams in our conference are playing pretty well. I feel like it's pretty safe to say that this new Pac-12 is the 5th best conference in the country. But there's a lot of difference between them and the other 4, and it's even saying the American's better in this dynasty. I'm also proud to say that we have picked up a win in Sim. We beat Fresno State 7-6. That's a crazy result. But it means we're not finishing at the bottom of our conference. They are instead. The Pac-12 also has 3 ranked teams at the moment. It looks like Washington State did get snubbed from the conference championship. So it's not going to be easy for us to take over the Pac-12. We did find Skylar Apple, though, in recruiting. He's a quarterback that's a gym, but I'm not a huge fan of the stats. If anything, I'd expect him to be like a Tyler Hurt, but I can't diss on him too hard because if his accuracy goes up a bunch, he's going to be really solid. In his first year as the starter, he threw for almost 2,500 yards, and this is the first time we've gotten more passing touchdowns than interceptions out of a quarterback. So that's a blessing, though Ibrahim only averaged 1.5 yards per carry. He has regressed a lot, while Alonzo Singleton got most of the snaps. Receiving-wise, Taylor Mond struggled a bit, while we had Forrest Higgins with his like 76 speed getting the most yards. And I love early National Signing Day because I can see player dev traits. We did recruit a bust. He had 81 speed at free safety, but I'm sure there's going to be someone else good through this class. Sure enough, athlete Kenyon Perkins, he's agile, so he'll probably move over to defensive end, is an elite dev. That's going to help out our defense even more. We have star on both of these cornerbacks, and I know we haven't taken a big step forward yet, but it might happen next season. Our players are going to get another year of development, and I'm going to make sure that our defense has motivator tier 3 for all of the positions so they can go up even more. I accidentally skipped the players leaving tab though, so we can see that this team is only losing 5 seniors from this screen, and that's not very hard to replace, but I do see that the number 20 transfer in the country from Washington is interested in our school. That could be a huge pickup to make our defense even better. I bet he's like an 85 overall. I would also love to get Taj Johnson, and I can't forget about Skylar Apple just in case he turns out to be an amazing quarterback. It turns out the 4-star defensive tackle does want to play for Gonzaga, along with some other guys like receiver Taj Johnson. We pretty much signed every single player that I was hoping for. With those 2 4-stars, we're still not close to signing a top 10 class, which is another challenge, but we did get up to number 37. And I found a kicker with star dev, but what I've just scrolled over more importantly is what Apple's dev trait is. You won't believe it, but this 3-star, Skylar Apple is an elite dev quarterback. He might be coming in at a 66 overall, but I am going to be tempted to start him right off the rip. And then Kenyon Perkins, the other elite dev player that we recruited, is going to make our defensive line even better. Now, we are a little bit thin at the running back and tight end positions, so we're going to have to move some of these receivers around. And I might have gone a bit overboard signing too many cornerbacks, but I need to move most of them to safety anyway. I'm super stoked with how training results went for this team though, because as you can see, there are some freshmen that are coming up to be some of our highest overall players. And even Tyler Hurt's up to a 77, but that kid's going to be hurt when he sees he's not the starter. I am fully prepared to let Skylar Apple take over as a 68 overall. I mean, look at this. He barely has any skill caps. He's going to be so good by the time he's a senior. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's going to have a really tough start to his career, but after that, things should open up, especially by the time we get to conference play. I'm also going to have to go after some skill positions this year. We need a bunch of running backs, a bunch of wide receivers, and apparently our offensive line even needs help. Defensively, even though it still says we have team needs, I'm pretty sure with all the recruiting we've done in the last few years, we have this covered. And a lot of 4-stars probably still won't consider our school, but I'll probably go after some of them anyway. These are the 3 4-stars I decided to pursue. All of them are wide receivers, though we can only go after 6 total players because we have 400 hours a week. And 4 of those players are wide receivers. We have 94 speed right there, 94 speed again, then 95 and 95. All of those guys would be quicker than anybody else that is on this team besides Taj Johnson, who just transferred in. And we're starting the season on the road at Texas Tech, where we're just gonna sim it. With a freshman quarterback, my expectations weren't high, but apparently we choked our lead in the 4th quarter, and from a quarterback perspective, Skylar Apple did throw 2 picks. He could be set up for a bright future though. We'll see how we do against USC. And it should be no surprise we didn't beat one of the best teams in the country, but we did destroy this FCS school. Skylar Apple seems to have an interception issue as a freshman though. He has turned it over in every single game. And I'm just hoping that he is careful about where he places his balls whenever we face the Miners. If we're going to get these 3 4-star wide receivers to commit, we cannot have a bad quarterback option for them. But we lost this one 31-38. I should have just hopped into it. He had another 2 turnovers. This start to the year is not ideal, but we've signed the 93 speed athlete who's probably going to play running back for us, another 3-star Jim at linebacker, and our first 4-star wide receiver. The other 3 wide receivers should commit shortly. It's just I'm not sure what their dev traits are going to be. And I'm starting to realize if we put 75 points on players, we have a good chance at landing a lot of them. It's just no 4-stars besides like 1 or 2 would still consider our school. I am excited for the rest of this season though, because we can finally play a bunch of Pac-12 conference games, and I can hop into up to 3, so this is a chance for us to still turn the rest of this year around. It's been tough with a freshman quarterback though. He hasn't had a good day, and it doesn't help that our offensive line is giving him almost no time, because when they do, he can complete passes. We basically just need to get into the end zone as soon as possible. But there's another example of just not having enough time to make a read. This is going to lead to our running back making the catch though, and he goes inside the red zone. I love a good comeback story, and I feel like we could still make it happen in this game. But if we're able to punch this in, it's going to be on our defense to get us the ball back with 3 stops. Our freshman running back is starting to get some more touches though as our 3rd down receiving back. And Fresno State almost got a kickoff return on the kickoff. That would have ruined any chance we would have had, though we're stopping the run. And here on 3rd and 13, they've kept it on the ground, which we're all over. Fresno State is trusting their defense against our freshman quarterback. They are doubting Apple right now. I really hope he can go out there and prove them wrong. First play, fade route, open, he throws it on the run, and it's gonna be caught by Wing. That was actually such a crazy throw. I should have set my feet with him. We have gone in hurry up mode, and I'm throwing that back shoulder ball right there. It might be time to go back to the simpler reads. We have a hitch route out there versus man-to-man coverage. Mon does get open, and we're inside the 10-yard line with no timeouts and a little bit of time left. We're going to take our drag and just get out of bounds here, or we're going to fight for a touchdown. Now, I don't trust the computer simming this extra point. I'm going to make sure we drill it. And I also don't trust that we can keep them out of field goal range in the next 17 seconds. Here on 2nd and 4, all we have to do is make sure that their streaks don't get open, though they're lasering it over the middle. And I guess it all comes down to this right here. We cannot let them get into field goal range. Though they have all the time in the world, I'm not going to tackle them yet. My plan? No. I had a plan right there. There were 3 seconds left on the clock when they were making the catch. They would have had a field goal, so I had to tackle him inbounds. But he just hit his acceleration on a whole other level, and we couldn't tackle him. Watching that back, I might be really mad at myself for dragging the player out of the position to make a play. But let's walk through the thought process. All right, so there's about 3 seconds left when he makes this catch. They're in field goal range right here. So we have to just run back and make the tackle there That's when we missed, and then the cut up, nobody could catch him. As painful as it is that we just lost in that manner, we would have lost the game either way if they kicked the field goal. I just am so disappointed we couldn't bring him down. I'm now looking at the rest of the schedule, wondering if we're even going to be able to win a couple games. And it is a miracle that both of these 4-star wide receivers decided they still wanted to come to Gonzaga. Since they were 1-4, I thought we could simulate against Utah State, but we lost by 16. Again, 2 interceptions for Skylar Apple. And I went into this season wanting to play a bunch of games, but now I've just lost hope with this team. Traveling on the road to play at San Diego State, it is time for redemption for the Bulldogs. If we are not able to take them down here, we're in a ton of trouble. I mean, it's starting to look like it's more of a coaching issue than anything else, but we could close this out. At least I thought we could until we just gave that up right there, and our zones are not doing their job. They've already gotten into field goal range, so they have guaranteed that they're going to have a lead. But we're going to get a chance to redeem ourselves, assuming we can get a stop. That's not happening, though. I've lost too many close games in this rebuild. And if Apple manages to get us into the end zone, I'm going for the 2-point conversion. I do not care. Skylar has thrown 2 interceptions in this game as well. I mean, it is just like a guarantee that he's going to average 2 picks a day. And how are our receivers not even catching the ball right there? I mean, it is just disgusting. I shrugged that last loss off. It was my fault for the play call I went with. But this one is purely on these receivers. They've got to step up, and there's the true freshman. Now, going with a cover 0 look right here, they might be trying to give this one to us. I mean, we're going to have the seam wide open. Okay, maybe it's also Skylar Apple's fault. Maybe he isn't ready for this moment as he just keeps on missing. And it all comes down to this. 4th and 10, we're going to take our hitch route. Is that far enough? It's caught. We still have 2 timeouts as well. I didn't burn one right there. I am going to step up and try to run before we're using one. And this is it. 15 seconds left on the clock now. I'm trying to throw it over that zone. We make the catch, and the freshman is the best receiver we have on this roster right now. With no timeouts left, I am spamming X. Come on, let me snap this ball. We got one more playoff. I'm not even sure where anybody's at. We're throwing it up, though. And it's short. That is another close game that we are not going to win in this Gonzaga rebuild. I'm not sure I've clutched up once in this video. I might be here for days trying to rebuild the Bulldogs. The Pac-12 is actually respectable. I think I've seen enough for this season, though. We're going to try to get this 4-star tight end, and then we're still going to go after some running backs and linemen. But outside of that, besides our game against Washington State, none of this matters. I knew all it would take is one more loss and we wouldn't be bowl eligible, though we did take down Oregon State. And this is our real chance to shine on the road at our biggest rivals. It seemed like every single team in the Pac-12 is like an 84 overall right now. So every single one of these games has been difficult, but it all comes down to our offense. I decided that for development purposes, it was better to just throw Apple out there as a freshman, and it's caused us to struggle. We're definitely not picking up this 4th and 16. And this game almost feels like it is impossible for us to win at this point, but we still have to try and come back. That wouldn't happen though. We just couldn't move the ball versus the Cougars, and they have beaten us again. I can't even blame Singleton for wanting to transfer out, though he's complaining about playing time. And that makes no sense. He's been our starter on the depth chart all year, but I guess he wants to be out there for every single snap. To end the year, I'm a little bit surprised saying this, but we beat Washington on the road, and we're doing better in sim than when I actually play. Clearly, there's a coaching issue going on. I'm ready to switch up our coordinators. Our offense is clearly not functioning the way it needs to, but I think our defense with Colin is still fine. He is the same last name as our backup running back. We're just going to say that this is his son. That is why he committed to our school as a star dev. He has a lot of room to improve still as well, and I can't break apart the family by firing him, but what I can do is bring in this coordinator right here because he fits our schemes perfectly. It's also time to mention it's early National Signing Day. This right outside linebacker's a star dev, this 4-star receiver's a star dev, and that is what I'm going to be looking for. This is another star dev receiver with takeoff. We even found a tight end, the 4-star. He had star dev as well. The 3 running backs, none of them were that good, and then for our offensive linemen, Impact's the best we have. I'm happy with who we've brought in though. I feel like we could be a playoff team in 4 to 5 years, but right now we're only on pace to get a little bit better, becoming 4-8 next season. I really hope we can do better than that, but we're losing quite a few good starters, including the transfer defensive tackle that didn't do much, and then our halfback complaining about playing time. There's no chance to persuade him to come back. Alonzo Singleton literally started for us, but it's whatever. We're also losing Taj Johnson. We'll see how good he was. And in the one season he played with us, he only had 18 catches. Our second leading receiver was our backup running back, and then our leading receiver was the freshman. Warren Smeenge, you are 6'4" with star dev. I'm not sure if you're ever going to be the starter after these new guys come in, but I noticed he has 97 ball carrier vision. I might try to move him to running back, and we have a lot of options in the transfer portal this season. None of them are really that helpful though, so I'm not going to worry too much about this period. If anything, I just wanted to make sure that I got some of the 3 stars that I was already going after. And one of those late additions, Emmett Brown, had star dev. As for the transfers, we also got star dev on a 2-star linebacker. And I feel like we've gotten enough pieces to win our conference at this point. We just need them to develop. When you compare our recruiting class to the rest of the Pac-12, it's not even close. We are out recruiting everybody. And I said during position changes, I wanted to see what overall Warren would be whenever we moved him to running back. He's an 82, but we're not going to do it yet. We might explore in the future if these 3 freshman receivers develop well, but at the moment, we still have Josh D'Ampiro, and he's a beast, 81 before training results. I've also made sure before we advance to that week that for tier 3 in Motivator, we have that unlocked for our offensive line and our quarterback positions, because that should help how much overalls players jump up by. Going into season number 5, we're going to be an 85 overall, but this roster feels like it's really good. We have a 91 overall right end that is a redshirt sophomore. Unfortunately, he's probably going to leave for the draft after this season. But Skylar Apple didn't jump up that much, and I just realized I never looked at his freshman stats. He threw for over 3,000 yards and 26 touchdowns. It's just the 19 interceptions that was a problem. And rushing-wise, he had more yards than Josh did, but our running back that transferred out isn't on this list. I would have been curious to see what numbers he put up, and take a look at all these freshmen that I can't encourage to transfer. They're our lowest overall players. That's a good sign you're doing something right in recruiting, though, and I'm going to continue to clean up the roster. I feel like this should be the season that we finally make a bowl game. I'm expecting this team to take a huge step forward. The only ranked team on our schedule is Boise State. And even though it's going to keep saying that we have a bunch of team needs, we know a lot of these positions are covered, and I might just start to go for the best available, like 4-star prospects. There's only one that's interested in our school off the rip, but we can start with that and then go from there. And when it comes to the quarterback position, Skylar Apple is the worst one that we have on this roster, but he is still going to be the starter because he's elite dev. I actually feel kind of bad for Sterling Turk. He has some really solid stats accuracy-wise and then with 90 speed, but he's just not going to get any better. I can't risk playing him, but I am excited to see how freshman Ray Crescelius adapts with his star dev takeoff ability and still so much room to grow. In case some of the new receivers don't pan out though, I still have a couple insurance policies. I'm also targeting 4 4-stars this year. This would be the most we've ever had in a class. But I'm honestly more excited about the potential product that we could have out there on the field. I feel like I've played a ton of games where our offense has just felt terrible, but this one hasn't been the case. We're breaking a ton of tackles. Keep on going. Josh D'Ampiro somehow just fought his way into the end zone. He was 5 yards short. And this team is so much more fun than the one that we've used in previous years. Come on, just swat it down on 4th down. This one's never really been close. We've had control of it for the entire game, but we're gonna go for a touchdown. And even if Skylar Apple is still delivering a lot of inaccurate passes, assuming we drill this field goal, we have a 3-possession lead. Our sophomore quarterback still needs to get a lot better. He's not the highest overall at the moment, but he did do enough for us to start this season with a win. And I hopped into that game because after that, we should sim all the way up until we play against a team like Washington State. The issue with that though is the next week, even though Skylar Apple played an almost perfect game, we would lose to California by 2 points and we put up 40. It was completely out of our control, but I would be really upset if we lost at UConn. They aren't a football school, and that would be the start of our 3-0 run, which is going to put us at 4-1 going into this game. However, even though things seem to be going super well, we've only been able to sign 1 player, and we might not get these 4 stars. It's going to come down to the wire where we have been locked out of Logan Cush. Our playing style apparently didn't suit him, but I'm ready for conference play, and that is not San Diego State's overall. There's still some weird bugs in this game, but they're an 81. And seeing Skylar Apple win Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week makes me super proud. He's finally playing well. We put up 45 points. And I said I was going to simulate every game up to this Washington State one that we're going to have to play on the road. We're still locked out of Logan Cush, so I'm just going to go ahead, remove the 4-star from our board. And the struggles we've had with signing some of them is why I targeted 3-star gyms early on, but we did get these 2 to commit, including one of them being a gym. I've also targeted a couple other ones down here at the bottom of our board, so we could still sign 4 4-stars. But I should probably start scouting the players that I'm going after, and even better, one of them's a gym. More importantly though, we're about to host the Utah State Aggies. They're 2-4, and I have to sim this game, just because I probably want to play Boise State and also Washington State throughout the rest of the year, but it worked out for us even if we only won by 6. A win is a win, but Skylar Apple went back to his old ways, throwing 2 interceptions. And I better not throw 2 interceptions with him when I go on the road to play at Washington State. It amazes me that this far into the rebuild, we still haven't completed a challenge, but we're on pace to do so by beating our rivals. We just need to have a good ending to the first half. I think I gotta go for the touchdown. We'll use a bubble screen and just hope that we fight our way in. But we didn't get it. Now it's 4th and goal, and we're having to use our backup running back for this, so he's short. For as good of a first half as we played, that was not ideal. And the reason Titus Sampson's out there is we're dealing with some injuries, including Josh D'Ampiro with an abdominal tear out for 4 weeks. Without our starting running running back, you would assume that our offense would take a step back, but that simply hasn't been the case. I mean, we would definitely be winning by more if he was out there, but we've still had a lot of success in this game. We have a chance to go up by 3 possessions. And inside the red zone, I'm not even running the ball. I'm just taking our drags because our wide receivers are quick enough now. I have to give a lot of the credit to our defense, though. We've held them to just 14 points, and assuming they don't get in here, that would have been true. But they scored on like the final play, and they're still going to lose by a lot. I'm unfazed by it. What is important is we have finally taken down our rivals, completing the first challenge in the Gonzaga rebuild. And it's all thanks to Skylar Apple, who we got super lucky on. I never knew a 3-star could be that good, and we should also try to complete the going undefeated at home this year. With our only loss being at Cal, all we have to do from here on out is beat Colorado State, Oregon State, and Boise State in our home stadium. But I can only play one of those 3 games, and it's going to be against either Boise State or Oregon State. We've had a really good start to the year, but there's still a chance we don't make our conference championship. But it's hard to see that happening whenever Skylar Apple keeps on performing better. With a win over Colorado State, he has us ranked 21st in the country, but Boise State is also ranked. They're number 18. So we're going to have to skip over this matchup against Oregon State, and I just have to hope that we win. But before we finish the rest of this Gonzaga rebuild, a word from Prize Picks, today's video sponsor. With this slate of games, college football is set up to have an amazing weekend. And if you think you're good at guessing how players will perform, then you might like Prize Picks, where on there you pick from 2 to 6 players and then higher or lower on their projections. You can play in over 30 states, so there's a good chance yours is eligible. And I'm coming off of this win, so I'll definitely be looking to do that again. I can also get you some cash to start out with on Prize Picks, as Code Board will get you $50 instantly whenever you play with your first $5 plus lineup. And now it's time to resume the rest of this Gonzaga rebuild. We're basically just playing how I expected us to last year. Now we're going on the road to Fresno State. That shouldn't be a problem. And I cannot believe how quickly we just turned things around. We've gone from 3-9 to 9-1. With the foundation I laid, though, it was only a matter of time. I'm just not happy about how few players we have committed in this class. It's not a good one. I'm also not happy that I see we're sitting at 9-2, because that means we lost to Fresno State. It was 32-35, and let's see, did we throw picks? No. I'm not sure what went wrong, but we're still a lock for our conference championship. We have the tiebreaker over Oregon State, but we need to beat Boise State in this game here to win all of our home games this season. They have losses to Washington and San Diego State, though. They beat Oregon State, so no matter what, we better get real familiar with the Broncos, because we're not only playing them in this game, we're also playing them in the Pac-12 Conference Championship. As we continue this first drive down the field, things are looking pretty good. We're going to step up and run with Apple, and his efforts there mean that we're going up 7-0. This is a big game for Skylar, and although we have maintained our 1-possession lead, we have not put it away. I mean, we've had some nice completions like that one, but we need a big running play, and we couldn't break free. Having Josh D'Ampiro back from injury, though, is really nice for this team. We've definitely made sure he gets the ball a lot, and we're just 7 yards away from taking our 2-possession lead. From here, we should be able to hand it off. We get some decent blocks, but Boise State scored pretty quick, and there's still 9 minutes left in this game. We're probably not going to get this 3rd and 10 unless we make both of those players miss. That was filthy. Now I can see why we lost our other running back to the transfer portal. He was scared of the competition, but I can't talk too good about him because he almost just fumbled the game away. And what type of option pitch is that right there? Samson, you can't do anything with this. I feel like I find a unique way to blow every single game. We were in such a good spot. Now I'm literally throwing up a jump ball, hoping for the best. That flew in the air. And what do you even draw up to convert on 3rd and 24? I have a nice corner route out there, but it won't be completed. I feel like the writing's on the wall. We already know that we're probably about to blow this game. And I'm going to switch things up here. I normally don't run man-to-man coverage in this late situation. We're going to give it a shot, see if we're able to get a stop, and we're not. The 2-point conversion's more important anyway. As long as we hold them here, we're going to be just fine. I see that their quarterback's trying to run, and I am so sick of finding unique ways to lose. I can't do this anymore. Don't pick that. I probably should have burned one of our 3 timeouts. There's really not that much time left in this game, but we catch it. And with 15 seconds left, all we have to do is get into field goal range. Our corner route is going to get open. That was an incredible connection right there. Now all we have to do is just center it up down the middle. And I'm so glad this game doesn't have an ice the kicker feature in these clutch situations. I guess it just made the meter disappear. But I've never noticed that before. Did they add that post-patch? What I was going to say is kicking's already hard enough. I mean, I'm glad that we clutched up in his hit that kick. This game shouldn't have been in that position anyway. And they could make kicking even harder by having iced the kicker like it was in NCAA Football 14. With that win, of course, we're in the Pac-12 Conference Championship against Boise State again. But hold up, how on earth is Boise State number 16 in the country while we're sitting down here at number 23? We just beat them. I guess they're not even going to give us a chance at making the playoffs, but our 2 losses this year both came on the road, at California and at Fresno State. So we've completed our second challenge this year as well, going undefeated at home. We could win a Pac-12 championship as well. It's just all going to come down to how we play against them again. And all I'm saying is our new offensive coordinator was clearly the answer. I believe that switching stuff up like that can actually make a difference during sim. As you can see as well, we're playing this in Allegiant Stadium, so there is no excuses for weather or anything. The reasons that we're struggling are just our own fault. We haven't even thrown an interception. Boise State's defense has just locked us down. After seeing it last week, they know exactly what to do. They've had our offense in a box, but we are going to just step up once again and dive in. So sophomore Skylar Apple is getting us back in it. He'd even get it to a tie game with 3 minutes left, but they're about to pick up the 3rd and 9. And that's so frustrating because I knew exactly where they were going. It's just another one of those games that's been a battle. They're going nowhere here either. So this is a huge 3rd and 5 where they continue to hand it off. I'll gladly take a timeout and give us a chance to win with a touchdown. I'm not sure if Boise State realizes how much time they just left us with, but we should be perfectly fine. That is a throw that we have not been able to hit until this season in the rebuild. It is always a difficult one too, but that just shows our receiver quality has gone up. And how did they get pressure off the left side so fast? I honestly just want to dump this ball off to our running back, see if he can make a play on 3rd down, but he couldn't either. So our season is on the line on this 4th and 6. And how did we have like no time? Like I stepped up in the pocket. I did everything I was supposed to do. All we were doing was hitting a short route right there. But even with our receiver winning player of the game, Taylor Mond, we're losing. That's a tough way for the senior to go out. We have to watch them celebrate this conference championship. And here we go. It's time to see what happened to Skylar Apple's protection. Oh, our left tackle just let 36 breeze by. I shouldn't have watched it more either because I've just realized that 66 blocks absolutely no one right here. He gets in the way of our running back. And we're stuck with these players for quite a while. They're supposed to be good. They are on paper. We even have the locked-in ability on our offensive line, so they start the 4th quarter hot in close games. But not right there. They just took the play off, and we're still finishing inside the top 25. You would think that'd get us a good bowl game, but no, it's the Fenway Bowl. And I've never even heard of it before, but what makes me more mad is Boise State keeps making the playoffs. They're going to be our real rivals the rest of this rebuild. Skylar Apple had an incredible season, 39 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. When you compare that to what he did as a freshman, cutting out on the turnovers was the biggest hump to get over. And keep in mind, at the moment, he is only a 76 overall, and a lot of our receivers aren't that developed either. His accuracy has got to go up. Then at running back, Titus Sampson and Josh D'Ampiro kind of split carries because of injuries, but Warren Smeenge did not split any snaps on offense. He was our leading receiver with Ray right behind him. Now that it's early National Signing Day, we can see some of these player dev traits. Star on a 4-star is about what I'd expect. We've got an elite on another 3-star, and then we got elite on this agile athlete as well. Both of those guys will probably end up playing on the defensive line though, which is going to make our defense even better. This guy's a star 3-star right end, and I guess I don't have to worry about what happens if Jimmy Gent graduates early because we're just going to have a bunch of replacements coming up. Let's just go ahead and finish this season strong though. There's no reason we should lose to Memphis in this bowl game. I should really just be thankful for the type of season that we had in the first place anyway. We went 3-9 last year, and whether or not we win this bowl game all comes down to our defense, not our offense, but we're giving that play up. I really haven't gotten many clutch stops in this video like I normally do, so I'm starting to question what I'm running. But we could also just need our team to improve a little bit more, and they're getting another 1st down. I'm going to try some man-to-man coverage out, but we are leaving the drag open. They're taking it to the 30-yard line, and we're not generating much pressure with our defensive line, which is weird until this play. It is so weird how that always works out. You say something, it becomes a reality. We get another sack, and now that it's 3rd and 24, I'm expecting us to not give up anything huge right here. They do have a couple checkdowns they could throw to, but their quarterback's going to try to run instead. This is what I was expecting out of our defense. This is how I wanted to hold Memphis at the end. All we have to do is make a tackle. And it wasn't the prettiest win of all time, but we have won a bowl. The future's looking bright as well. Josh is only a sophomore too. But we have a lot of unfinished business here at Gonzaga. Boise State even went on a little bit of a run in the playoffs. Our goal for this next season is simple. Be better than them. And these are some of our players from our first recruiting class. We're even putting a player onto the NFL with Frank Stoner. But we had nobody declare early, which makes me think that they want wanted to come back for a reason. Right now, this recruiting class is looking kinda weak. We've only signed 11 players. But we have more options in the transfer portal than we have ever had before, and I have to find some guys that could actually get onto the field for us. Being able to put almost 75 points on pretty much every player makes me think that we should get a lot of these guys. But consistently signing transfers is normally pretty difficult to do, so I'm surprised to see us in first place for all 9 of them. These are the screens that I want to see, but I'm still expecting us to lose at least a few battles, and it is blowing my mind that I'm about to go 9 for 9. Nobody wanted anything to do with us a season ago. Now everybody wants to play for Gonzaga. Well, besides Walter Pounds, he did settle on Notre Dame, but we still got all of these transfers, and I'm just looking for some good dev traits on them because that's what makes all of the difference. It definitely affects player skill caps. Daryl Buggs, one of our elite dev players we brought in, is a 75 defensive tackle. And our roster's looking pretty solid, but I just realized we have not brought in a quarterback now in 2 seasons. Right now, we don't have a future at that position, so we need to figure that out in case we can't win a championship in the next couple of seasons. We're going to be an 88 overall going into this season, though. And Skylar Apple is still not progressing that well. He's only an 80. We also have to cut down our roster size. Apparently, it is way too big. And it's going to make recruiting pretty simple. All we have to focus on is getting a quarterback, a couple receivers. We only have 13 total team needs. I'm ready for another season, though our non-conference schedule could definitely be easier. Boise State's also still ranked in the top 25. So we'll see how it all plays out, and I really need Skylar Apple to start developing his accuracies because they do need a lot of work. That'll probably affect how we do this year, but no worries. I have found some amazing 5 stars that we're going to be going after. I also have a couple options at quarterback. I figured we might as well go after 2 of them. But with just 500 hours to spend, our board's only going to have 7 players on it. I'm starting to think that we're not going to sign a top 10 class, which is one of the challenges. I'm hoping that we can win at number 9 Utah, but I'm probably going to sim all the way up until we start conference play because I really want to make sure that we win the Mountain West this year. It turns out we're actually going to start the season strong, though. Even though we have beat both Arizona and Utah, though, they're ranked above us. I'm not sure how that makes any sense, but I'm just happy to see that we're playing super well right now. And the last game that we need to win outside of Pac-12 conference play is going to be against Cal. They're only an 80. I don't think we'll have any issues simming that. We also might get our first commit in the coming weeks. Some of these battles are getting close, but we need more hours to schedule visits, and Rays won National Offensive Player of the Week against the Golden Bears. Not only did we win this game, we won by 35. Stat-wise, they threw 5 interceptions total, while our quarterback was perfect. But unfortunately, TCU's going to come out of nowhere on this QB. So after advancing the week, I think we're only going to get one of them. I was holding off on getting excited about either of them. Barry Hurley has committed, though. And we've also gotten a 5-star free safety the same week. As I advance, I see that we're getting a 5-star left end, too. And we are still in first place for the other 4 guys on our board. I will definitely be scheduling all of them for a visit as soon as possible against Utah State. That works for me. And let's take a look at the 4-star gym quarterback stats. Barry Hurley has 94 throw power and better accuracies than our current starter. Now I'm starting to feel good about Gonzaga football. We're about to play Fresno State, and I have to decide which of these 3 conference games I want to play, though everybody seems to be around an 81 to an 83 overall, so they're very similar. If we play like we did to start the season, especially since we have a win over number 4 Arizona on the road, we should be going into the playoffs undefeated. But we all know that the sim in this game can be a little bit hit or miss, so there's no guarantees that that happens. That's why I'm hopping into this one at Fresno State. I'm glad that I have too. They've played us really well. If I'm ever going to lose a game, I want it to be my fault, not the Sims. And after a roughing the passer penalty on the next play, we'd get moved up to the 7-yard line where I just keep on scrambling. Skylar Apple really isn't that quick, but he can take advantage of an open space. And it's this defense that I'm so excited about. We've built a really solid one, though they're trying to burn us deep, and they have a touchdown. I did everything I could have there. I shaded over top. We were prepared for it. Evidently, their coverage was not prepared for this right here, though. I mean, how is he that open? It says they were running cover 6. I keep telling you all, it is broken on this game. Their quarterback does have field general, though, because it keeps popping up whatever coverage we're in, and he's going to try to make a play on the run. That was the one stop that we needed. We were able to put the game away after that. And it took us a little while to get going, but Skylar Apple is still playing well. I'm going to have to admit that I have missed on a quarterback, though. TCU was able to sign Amari. So after seeing that one 5-star was still available, I've decided to add Robert Dunham to our board. If we could get him, that would give us 2 great options. We'll see how that that plays out. For now, it says this is a rivalry against Utah State. That's because I had to replace Wyoming. And I do really hope that Team Builder has some more customization in College Football 26, like adjusting school grades. Whenever I see a National Player of the Week pop up, I know that we've played well, and we're also getting it on the offensive side of the ball. 55-7. It wasn't even a contest. Now we're going on the road at San Diego State. I'll probably sim that, but play against Colorado State. They're one of the only teams that are a threat to our undefeated season at the moment, alongside Boise State. And I have to point out that Gonzaga is the only school in this conference that doesn't have state at the end of their name. You all better get ready to watch the All-State Pac-12 at some point. I just know it's going to be a sponsored name. And I cannot believe it. Not only have we signed the 5-star Jim at wide receiver, but we also got this 5-star middle linebacker. It literally took one good season. Now everybody wants us. 93 speed on him. He's going to be a monster. We're also not going to stop with the signings. We've picked up this left tackle too. And we can't stop winning Player of the Weeks. This time it is Josh D'Ampiro. It doesn't even surprise me that both Skylar Apple and Ray Crasilius are both in the Heisman race at this point for our team. And we did win against Utah State 77-27. How many touchdowns did we just put up offensively? This is insane. We were terrible for our first 4 seasons as a football program, but we had one good year, and now it feels like we've almost outgrown the Pac-12. I don't think I've ever had a turnaround this crazy in a rebuild. This one didn't ever even feel like it was close. And this screen really shows off how crazy our growth has been. The last game I'm going to hop into this season is, of course, against Boise State. They're our rivals in the conference. Because Washington State's at the bottom, they're not competitive, and they could still knock us out of the conference championship. I don't see that happening since we have the tiebreaker over Colorado State, but it could still occur. And one thing I've been saving our coach points for is this tactician tree. We're just going to go down in it and upgrade our offensive line and all of our defensive backs. It should boost our team overall a little bit more. We need any extra help that we can get because I feel like we could make a deep run in the playoffs, but not if we play like this. Thankfully, they are pressing on this 3rd down. I'm not sure why they would ever bring everybody down into the box because they knew we had to throw the ball there. I'm going to do the complete opposite on this 3rd and 20. I have dropped everybody back. We just need somebody to generate some pressure, and as long as we wrap up, we're getting a stop. How we close out games like this is very important. Apparently, we missed the extra point though, so that is not ideal. We're also not getting this. And there's still plenty of time left in this one. That's going to be a flag. I ran straight into the wide receiver, but we have another chance to get them off the field. It's 3rd and 8, and they went with a halfback draw. I guess they knew that they were going for it on 4th down. They are not going to take their 3. I can't get over to that receiver though. Boise State has put us down by a point, and it also means that the pressure is on right now, though we're getting out of there with our sophomore. Whoever you end up putting in the slot in this game always ends up going off. We're going to have a huge play to our running back. And if we beat that press over on the left side, I would thread the needle. Instead, we're just going to take the drag though. And again, it's our receiver out of the slot. Ray Crasilius is going off for us right now, but it's probably smart to just run the ball. And I'm kind of upset that this game's even this close in the first place. With wear and tear, I'm not sure if we have what it takes to pick up a big run right here, though we just have one guy to make miss. You know, I haven't run my staple all video. We're going to hit the jet touch pass to Ray, and Ray is going to outrun everybody. We've gotten the touchdown. Now can we get the 2-point conversion to go up by 7? Yes, we can. This is literally it right here. We could get revenge against Boise State, and what are they doing? That was such a bad read. On this 4th and 8, though, we just have to get in a little bit of pressure or a super clutch tackle. Even if they get this ball back, they're not going to have much time. And I might have been trying to pad our stats right there, but I don't think it's going to matter. All we have to do is swat this one down, and we're going to get the win. Well, Boise State's going to get another shot at the end zone. And this is the type of stupid stuff that causes us to lose football games, though I have a chance to sack their quarterback, and that's good enough. We're improving to 10-0. We're just a couple games away from an undefeated regular season, and Skylar Apple has been the backbone to that. As things stand right now, us and Miami are the only 2 undefeated teams that are left in the country. So that's probably what's going to decide this Heisman race, but they could take the trophy for themselves. It'll all come down to how Skylar plays against teams like Oregon State. They're just a 79 overall. And we'd win this game, but only 27-17. It's like he's trying to lose the Heisman race now. But we'll see how he finishes the year against our true rivals, Washington State. We just signed 5-star quarterback Robert Dunham as well, so that's going to make this class even better. And I'm doing my best to make sure that it finishes inside the top 10, but some of these battles have been tough. Right now, it's number 8 in the country, but we just don't have that much depth. Only 3 4-stars. And look at that. We're playing Boise State in the conference championship, but we're number 15 in the country. Nothing can ever go right for this team. We just lost to Washington State 38-30. And let me guess, we had a lot of turnovers from Skylar Apple. Yep, 3 interceptions. We still finished number 1 in the Pac-12, but I'm not happy about that result. And of course, he is no longer going to be on the Heisman watch list. That's how the sim engine works in this game, though. We're not even guaranteed to make the college football playoffs, averaging 30 38 points per game. We better beat Boise State. I don't understand how we're ranked so low behind all these 9-3 teams. We literally beat Arizona State, who's sitting up here at number 4. And looking at these other conference championship matchups, even if we win this, we might get snubbed from the playoffs. I was so pumped up with how the year was going. Now there's a chance we lose to Boise State. And I'm starting to think that this team is cursed. They can't win a national championship in basketball. And football might not happen either. At the moment, we find ourselves down by 14 points. And no matter where I put that ball, there was always going to be a flag. It is not looking good at the moment, though. We'll see if our fade route can get open. Nope, it is underthrown. So I'm guessing that this team is going to need another season. What are we even doing? After punting it back to them, they drove down the field and they were able to kick a field goal versus us. So they're up by 17. I just don't have much hope. We really need to get a stop, and on 3rd and 2, we're going to. But realistically, what are the odds? There's 3 minutes left. We're down by 10 on our own 6-yard line. And what type of match coverage are they running? They're going to leave Cecilius, I can't even say his name right now. I don't care. We're getting a touchdown. Almost celebrated too soon, but it's okay. We have it. We have a chance to hold them. We're missing so many tackles. And that's basically going to guarantee that they get a first down here, or maybe not. Using the 2-minute warning, we can stop the clock one more time if we don't stop them here. And that was actually best case scenario. We have a chance to pull off a 17-point comeback. This is one of my only chances to get a return. I rarely get them, but I probably shouldn't have cut in right there. I guess we can use this as a chance to take down clock. The pressure is starting to build right now. We can't throw that bubble screen. That would be an interception. And I'm trying to make sure that we leave them absolutely no time. Halfback screens have not been working in this game, though. I think we're just going to step up and scramble. But the real question is, can we trust our defense for 28 more seconds? Boise State had terrible clock management because they refused to use their first timeout until there was only 11 seconds left. And now we're in an even better spot, though they are going to pick up quite a bit. It is always a close game versus the Broncos. They have a shot at a Hail Mary right here, though. We are getting in pressure. And talk about an incredible comeback. That's how Gonzaga's getting their first Pac-12 championship. And player of the game, of course, has to go to our receiver who had 253 yards. If it wasn't for Ray, we would have lost this game to Boise State 2 seasons in a row. And his last name trips me up, but what's important is we can check off our 3rd challenge from this list. Just taking a look at our season stats, Stephen Apple did throw 12 picks, so that's more than last year, but he also threw for more yards. And he rushed for 6 touchdowns with 500 yards. That is almost just as much as Josh. Then receiving wise, Andre Wing, our tight end, was our 3rd receiver. The main guy, though, Ray Crecelius. That's got to win him the Biletnikoff for the best wide receiver. This is not the award I want to see, though, because I want to see him be a trophy winner. And how did this receiver from Miami with half as many yards and less touchdowns win the Heisman? The award system is clearly broken on this game. We are the best receiver, but another receiver won the Heisman Trophy. And somehow we've also won the best kicker. The awards are not stopping either. Best linebacker goes to Colin Kinder. And we have made a bowl game not the playoffs. You've got to be kidding me. We went 12-1. Who even made it over us? Arizona, we beat them. I guess Utah and Washington didn't end up being as quality of wins as I was hoping, and our Pac-12 conference is definitely pulling us down. But that's all it takes. One loss in sim, and we're not going to be able to get into the playoffs. I'm excited to see these player dev traits, though. I'm expecting a lot of elites. There's already been 3 of them and a star, another elite on this quarterback. And then this 4-star middle linebacker also has elite dev. I mean, we have so many good players on this team now. We're going to have to go for a top 10 class, even though we've only brought in 10 players. And I'm glad we won some national awards, but we really should have been in the playoffs. Instead, we're getting this game against Liberty, and we better blow them out after getting snubbed like that. Well, it isn't perfect, but we have held them defensively really well. And that safety to end the game just adds fuel to the fire. That was a sick celebration. At least we're going to finish the year strong again, just like last season. I wish we would have gotten into the playoffs, though, because I don't know how many players could leave this team early. I really thought we had what it took to compete for a championship this year, but I guess not. And there it is, 2 players declaring early for the NFL draft. We have an extremely high chance of getting Gent to come back, though, and he's failed. That is so annoying. At least Josh should come back, right? Or are we going to get cheated? Okay, we don't. On top of losing Gent to the 3rd round, we also have a lot of seniors that have started for us that are now graduating. And I kind of forgot that Tyler Hurt even existed, but he's apparently graduated now. He was completely forgotten about, but we did well with these 2 players. I recruited them both. And to sign the #1 class, this transfer portal period is so important. The only 5-star, the #1 player is interested in our school. We're definitely going after these guys. But we can only put 65 points on offensive linemen now, so we must have lost our offensive coordinator. We did. Now we have Brad Fleming, who more focuses on the tactician side of things. But since Colin's son didn't declare for the NFL draft early, we still have our defensive coordinator on the team, and he is the one that has stuff in recruiting that's been helping out with the defense. I also just thought of something. Down there in the bottom right corner, you can can see a player's deal breaker, so I'm going to try to schedule these transfers for a visit in week 1. I have never done this before. I want to see if it helps. That deal breaker is guaranteed to be one of their 3 motivations. These prospects were just signing from the regular season, and to be honest, I'm not noticing much of a difference at all. I don't think it would have changed anything to do it at a different week. What it's really going to come down to is whether or not we can maintain these leads, and that's going to be pretty tricky because we're not really unlocking what their main interests are. At least Jeffrey Law has committed, though. That's one more 4-star we can add on. James Turner as well, and we're also going to get Julius Azar. We're still number 1 for the number 1 player in the country as well. It's just this fullback that we're struggling with, and I'll gladly take him off the board. I only had him on there so our class would have some more players in it. At the end of the day, I still don't have enough information to hard sell Sean Gammon, so we're just going to stick with this, hope that we beat out Iowa State. And they're coming off a national championship win, but it's not going to matter. This really turned out to be such a sick class. I'm excited to see how all these players fit in. And we have signed a top 10 class. It wasn't the number 1 class in the country, though, because we didn't have many 4-stars. Now the only challenge we have left is getting Gonzaga a national championship. And Sean Gammon, before training results, just transferred in, but he's our highest overall player. Depending on our team overall, it could be this season, or it might have to come in the future. We're a 91, and I feel like this roster is decent. But Skylar Apple is only an 86 overall. I thought he was going to be a lot better than that. For whatever reason, his accuracy just never developed. And you can call me crazy for this, but we might be better off starting Sterling Turk. His stats are a little bit better on the accuracy side of things, and he's a lot quicker. This is not the decision I thought I'd have to make during this season, but if we don't have a successful year, we have a lot of good freshmen that just came in, and at the running back position, we have a 2-headed monster. These 5 players right here are definitely holding our team overall down, though, and we still have to cut 11, which is going to be tricky. Now, I am spending our 30 coach points in this coaching tree. I want to make sure our quarterbacks have the best accuracy possible. And also from a defensive line perspective, I feel like some of these tiers are really good even at the low levels. We're officially a 92 overall, but we're going into this season as the 22nd best team in the country, and that is so disrespectful. I was about to say that I was going to run through this schedule, but number 1 Miami on the road is on there. I guess that's going to be a good chance for us to really prove ourselves. As for recruiting, we have 32 team needs, so if we don't win it all this year, we need to make sure that we fill in all of these positions. And we saw firsthand that one loss can really mess up our year, but here we go. We have 3 88 overall quarterbacks, and it is going to be Sterling Turk starting for us. Have I thrown Skylar Apple under the bus? Absolutely, and I might live to regret it, but I just can't win games whenever he has 73 deep accuracy. With 600 hours to spend, this is how I'm going to distribute them. We'll see how many of these players we actually get. It is only 5 stars on our board, and we might not have very many hours, but our school grades have gone up a bit. I might be overestimating how good these prospects think we are, though. We play Washington on the road in week 1, and I've already decided that I'm going to hop into the game at Miami, and then 2 of these road conference games, probably Washington State, just to make sure we don't lose again. Seeing that James Turner got 4 sacks in our first game, I'm going to assume that we beat Washington, and we did. After that, we're playing an FCS school. We should have no issues. In that one, Ray Crecelius is going to go off, which makes sense. We won it 62-3, then we beat UTEP 48-25, but this game against Miami is coming up soon. I'm starting to realize that going after only 5 stars might not have been smart. It's going to be a tight battle to get every single one. But on the bright side, we could win this game on the road at Miami. We're just going to have to play super well. I think this is how we get respect inside the top 10, so even if we do lose another game, we still make the playoffs. But if we can't take down the Hurricanes, then it's probably going to be pretty difficult for us to get respect the rest of the season. There's definitely a lot of confusion on the road, not being able to do any audibles or hot routes, but we are still in this one in the 3rd quarter. And Sterling Turk's not playing bad, but I haven't scrambled with him, and that's his best use. We really need to get into the end zone right here, which we are going to have the slant, but we gave up another touchdown ourselves, and we got to step up and scramble right here. I saw that our offensive line was breaking down. Now, the shadows that are out there on the field in Hard Rock Stadium are absolutely disgusting. I really wish they weren't realistic, but there is zero excuses for trailing at this point in the game, especially when we have some good receivers. You couldn't even tell, but that ball was knocked out. I'm not sure what I was thinking scheduling the Hurricanes on the road. We're not escaping the pocket. And going for a 58-yard field goal here is probably the dumbest thing that I could do, but I might have hit it perfectly. Come on, please go in. No, it doinked off. You can't even see the ball. This looks terrible. But this game is not over yet. It is 3rd and 10. They have a halfback angle route out there on the field. And where is our pressure? I mean, it took them long enough, but we still have our chance, and our tight end gets us the first. There's about 3 minutes left on the clock now, so we do need to be a little bit urgent here and score kind of soon. The spin is so clean, but eventually that could lead to us fumbling the ball. And once again, I feel like I need to just step up and run it. He's fighting his way in. Steven Turk wants this win so bad, and I am going going aggressive mode here. I'm going for the 2-point conversion. Please catch it. I think I'm going to be thankful that I ended up doing that. This run is going to go to the outside, but we might get him out of bounds. And here on 2nd and 6, I'm run committing, which means we're going to stop the run again. Now that it's 3rd and 6, though, this is a little bit tricky. They've gone with the handoff, and the 2-minute warning alone has kept us in this game. I mean, we know that the Hurricanes are just going to keep on running the football. That's our advantage. But it's these 3rd and longs where I really don't know what to expect, and that's what they've gone with again. We're going to have about a minute to respond, and I just want to get out of these hideous shadows. They are driving me insane. I'm not sure how they ended up being on this side of the field, considering we have been in the 4th quarter like this entire time. But of all the little broken things in the game, that is probably one of the things that surprises me the least, and I felt like we had to scramble. I wanted to take our crossing route, but their man-to-man coverage was sticking with it nicely, and now we're taking off with Steven Turk again. This is it right here. This is why I put him in the game. We are going to miss it, though, into an interception. Are you kidding me? I was clutching up right there. How did he inaccurately throw that ball? I'm taking him out. He's done. That is literally going to be our season. Now I don't think we're going to make the playoffs. And I am sorry, Skylar Apple. I hope you forgive me. You have now been moved back up to starter. Fortunately, we really haven't fallen that far in the polls. I'm just so mad about that inaccurate throw. Because the main reason Sterling Turk was even out there was because his throw accuracies were better and he just missed. If we win out the rest of the season, we might still be able to make the playoffs, though. I'm just hoping for the best. Because at the moment, recruiting is a disaster. We have now lost more of these 5 stars. I'm not sure what I was thinking. After beating New Mexico 42-10, it is time for Pac-12 conference play. I can still hop into 2 games, and I think Colorado State and Boise State will be those. We're holding our own in the rankings at the moment, but if we lose 1 game, it's all going to go downhill. And another 5-star chose a school other than Gonzaga. I'm starting to fill out the board with some 4 stars, and I'll work on it over the coming weeks. It's just we're working with limited hours. During that time frame, we barely beat Fresno State, but we took down Utah State too, and now it's time to play against Colorado State. I can't say this class is looking that much better though we do have a 5-star corner Jim committed. We also have this athlete with 96 speed, but unfortunately USC was able to get this running back, and we're closing out on Terry Hicks, which would give us another option at quarterback. We got an insta commit on this 4-star, and then the rest of our board is filled up with the last 4 stars I can go after. 13 prospects is not really enough. When we had 30 team needs, we had 28 seniors, but the transfer portal period could also be super nice. And my thought process is I don't want to go after 3 stars because it destroys the quality of player on this roster, but most of these players are actually 3 stars. We've just developed them and they're really not that bad. Colorado State is 5-2 though, and right now they're close to us in the Pac-12 conference standings along with Washington State. I'm still not sure if we can win a championship with Apple as our quarterback with his accuracy, but sometimes it's not his fault. Even though we're up 21-3, that would have been a nice touchdown to have, and threading the needle, we're now going to go up 28-3. This is a game that was never supposed to be a contest, but I just had to hop in and make sure that it wasn't. And after benching Skylar Apple, he seemed to come back and play even better. I don't really see us moving any higher in the rankings though, which is why we can't lose another game this season. Miami is still undefeated, and we went down to the wire on the road against them, so what does that say about this team? I mean, clearly Terry Hicks thinks we're good. We got our 4th 4-star to commit, and we'll just focus on closing out all these players now. Every time I advance the week, I get pretty nervous because I get deja vu to what happened against Washington State last year, but we destroyed San Diego State and there's only 3 games left. Now it's hard for me to pick which one I want to hop into. I think it has to be this one though, because I'm simply not going to let the Cougars ruin our chance at making the playoffs again, and we have proven that we're the better team. It's not been a perfect performance, but we are about to take a 3-possession lead. Stepping up with Apple, we're going to try to scramble for the touchdown, and he's thrown 2 picks in this game, but our defense has just been the real difference maker. I mean, they gave up 7 points late, but they basically held Washington State to 6. We have now improved to 9-1, and there is a spider on my wall right now that I am staring down. I can't take my eyes off of it or else I'm not going to be able to find it. I smashed that thing the same way Georgia did to Florida State, and we're ready to finish the rest of the year. Boise State is an 87. I might have made a slight mistake by not hopping into this one. I didn't realize their overall was that high, and everything's starting to fall apart. Apparently we don't have as much prestige as I was thinking. Alabama's going to come out of nowhere on a couple of these prospects too. I'm liking what I'm seeing though. Skylar Apple threw for 300 yards, and apparently we beat Boise State 52-17. There's only 1 team left on our schedule now. It's the Beavers. They're one of the 2 teams that actually stuck with the Pac-12 and isn't a new member. And if they lose this, I have no idea who we'd play in the conference championship because that tiebreaker is going to be like a 4-way one. I am so nervous to see what is on the other side of this screen. This is our final boss before potentially making the playoffs, and we're 11-1. Apparently, beating Oregon State means we're also playing them in the conference championship, and I'm not sure how that tiebreaker works considering considering they're sitting at 5-7, but I'll take it. Our conference has fallen off a cliff. We've been elevated up to number 5 in the country, and Alabama keeps on taking players I wanted to get to commit. I think this is our championship window though. We had a lot of really good wins on this schedule, and if I somehow managed to lose this game, that would be so embarrassing. We're averaging 41 points per game versus their 20 points per game, and there are 78 overall. I was not going to mess this game up though. We're simply just way too good to lose, and I'm ready to see how we can do in the playoffs. It's going to be our first appearance in them, but we've come so close to making it the past 2 seasons, and it was about time Skylar Apple got it done. It feels good to be back-to-back Pac-12 conference champions, but a national championship would feel better, and I think we made the right decision by benching Sterling Turk. We also must have run the ball a bit more this season if Josh D'Ampiro had over 1,000 rushing yards, but he is a playing time deal breaker he's upset about. My man got 220 carries, and he still wants to transfer out. His dad's even our defensive coordinator. That's realistic though. College players never seem to be happy nowadays. We had 2 receivers go for 14 touchdowns, and our left end Jordan Shepard was the best defensive player in the country. Apparently Josh was also the best running back in the country. How was he unhappy about playing time? It blows my mind. James Turner wins best linebacker, and we're gonna get the number 3 seed in this bracket. We play the winner of Georgia and Oklahoma. That is terrible. We didn't get a good draw, so these dev traits might be important to check out. Knight has 97 speed with elite dev on a corner. That's gonna be an instant 90 plus overall, and I saw quite a few stars, which is a good thing. Terry Hicks comes in with field general magician, 94 throw power, star dev. I mean, he could actually be the future, but maybe I should take that back. Robert Dunham's already progressed to an 84. I almost wonder if we would have been better off just starting the 5-star this year instead of any of these 3 players. But what am I even saying? We've made it to the playoffs, and it's time to see how good we really are. With Oklahoma winning, that's who we're gonna have to play. Ball State and North Texas is at the top of the bracket, by the way. Comparatively, our draw is actually disgusting. Nebraska has a cakewalk to the championship, but we are a higher overall team than the Sooners. But I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt. All that's gonna matter is how well we perform in this game. I have been waiting for this moment for season after season. We're making catches, and this is full on locked in. It's not gonna get any better than this. I don't care how we get our touchdowns. I will scramble 50 times if that's what it takes, or we'll take our drag routes and eventually get in. Here in the second quarter, we have a chance to go up 21-0. It is a good throw, and at the moment, Oklahoma is not able to compete with us. What are we doing with this camera angle? I'm inside him. All I ask is that last sentence does not get taken out of context. I'll never read. So we're probably about to end this first half up 24-7 as long as that goes in. By the time there's only about 5.5 minutes left in this game, I really don't think Oklahoma has what it takes to come back from this, but we haven't done that well offensively. It's mainly been our defense getting the stops, and we're getting another sack. All of the cornerbacks on this team are so good that we can put them in man-to-man coverage. We can send blitzes, and that means that we are moving on to the semifinals. It's actually going a lot better now that I'm aggressive on defense, but the second a team has receivers that can beat the press against these corners, that's when we're in trouble. I remember recruiting Craig though. Even with his elite dev, he did not hit his potential at all. Maybe that's just because he's a 3-star, but he has some really good abilities like jammer. Now we're getting Alabama in the next round. They've been stealing all of our prospects, and I'm gonna expect that if we get by them, we'd have to play Nebraska in the championship. I really feel good about this team though. Before every game, I love to look at team overalls, and what I see is that we're always the higher one. We're representing the Pac-12 now. We have to prove that the conference is actually back, and I'm not too happy with how this whole one has started out. We've struggled against the Crimson Tide. On 4th and 2, we catch it though, so we still have some hope to get onto the board for the first time here, and running it to the outside, we're gonna see the lane, and he is gone. Josh D'Ampiro is making his dad proud on the sidelines, but we have still never had a lead in this game. Alabama got a field goal, and now we're getting our lead. That's a big touchdown pass. They shouldn't have sent a blitz, but I will be sending a blitz on this 3rd and 13, and we're in there. The longer this game goes on for, the less that's worked for us. On this 3rd down, they have a touchdown, but the refs didn't give it to them. They are not challenging the play, and they're just kicking 3. We're the team with control with 8 minutes left, though we're gonna have to finish off this drive as well with some points, so that's a little concerning. As well as we have played, Alabama's also done pretty well, so I just had to take a deep shot. We haven't done it once this game, and you've got to be kidding me. That was it right there. Now I'm gonna step up and take our crossing route, but it just doesn't hit the same unless we break free, and Ray is gone to the crib. They're also going for it on this 4th and 7. This is another huge moment in this game. Can we please get some pressure with our line? We're not going to get there in time. We're seriously so close to being able to seal this one, but they're just beating our zones. And they'd get into the end zone after that, so we are only up by 2 points again, though we have the ball and we're making a couple guys miss. Now, I'd honestly rather have our defense out there than our offense, so I'm going to take a couple shots, see what we can make happen. We're not holding on, but in my eyes, that was definitely worth it, and we can always go to Josh for a first down. Now, being smart, I'm going to take it to the 2-minute warning, and we are literally just a first down away from being in the national championship game. We just need 4 more yards in the next 2 plays. We're not getting anything here, but I have an idea on 3rd and 4. It is old reliable. It's the jet touch pass, and I think we can pick this up if we make the cut inside. That was risky, but if you're quick enough, you can do that, and we have survived against the Crimson Tide. We're going on to the national championship. I'm definitely feeling better about Skylar Apple being the starter as well now. It's just annoying when he misses throws, and Nebraska is our opponent in the national championship. We have come a long way, but they just blew out North Texas 56-17, and they're currently ranked #1 in the country. The last time we played the #1 team in the country, we couldn't come out on top, but this is our chance to actually do it. I think this team's good enough to pull it off. I mean, obviously we've been able to get here, but through the first quarter, nobody's been able to reach the end zone, and we had a touchdown there. That is so frustrating. Now we're just going to go for a big play on 3rd down, which is going to result in an interception. I was blindly throwing that to Ray no matter what. We're tackling him. And so far, this aggressive look has worked out pretty well for us, but not this time around. We just got beat off the line, and I'm never running that defense again. Ever since they went up by 7 points, we haven't been able to overcome that deficit either. I have high hopes for this halfback screen, though. And I really don't want to try to settle for a field goal here, but it's our only option. I feel like I am so good with those kicks. Find me a YouTuber that is better at field goal kicking than me. You're going to have a hard time doing that. On this 3rd down, though, we're giving it up. And of course, they'd follow that up with a touchdown, putting us down by 11 points, though we might have the fade route right here to Ray, and he doesn't get open. I am actually sick right now, but I felt like they were going with cover 0, so I'm going to take another shot down the field. And they were backed up just enough there. Now we have to go for it on this 4th down, and we got to go down. I don't like all these stressful games. I would much rather prefer us just play well and I don't have to come back. We might be able to get a touchdown here, though, if they're in match coverage, and they're not. So we're just going to be taking our drag, and Ray can't pick it up. He would have fought for it, too. I mean, I appreciate the effort. This is going to work, though. We can still get points. I mean, there's about 8 minutes left in the game. That is not a great sign, but I have to have hope. We have overcome a lot, and I'll continue to take the checkdowns if they're there. No shame in that at all. Now they're going to leave our receiver open in the corner of the end zone, but I'm a little bit surprised that we actually got credit for that. I'm not challenging it. I'm not taking a second look at it. I'm just going to appreciate that we got super lucky. And on 3rd and 8, they're going with a halfback draw. I saw it coming, but we're not going to react quick enough. They are seriously milking this clock away versus us. We've got to get them off the field right here. And that's easily got to be one of the most clutch click-on plays on defense I've ever had. They could have picked up the first. Even with that hit, too, I thought they might have had it. Now we're taking a sack, though. No, we've broken it. Come on, guys. Don't give me a little bit of hope like that. If we're able to get out of the sack the first time around, just block the other guys. Ray gets open with the crosser, and he has got to be exhausted. He's not out there for this play, so we're just going to have to go to our flat instead. 2 minutes to win a national championship with Gonzaga. We have a real chance. That throw is definitely off target, though. If they picked it, I'd be upset. I'm still willing to take some shots. They're going with man-to-man coverage right here, and I don't even feel comfortable throwing it. We will scramble. This is where Josh should really come into play, though. We need to have some big runs, and I feel like they're very lined up to stop this toss, but we're still going to go with it and get a few more. After this play, I definitely have to turn off chew clock, but I feel like we have wasted enough. And it's 4th and 3. I didn't even realize it. I'm going for it, though. I am not satisfied with us not picking that up. I might actually be the dumbest person alive. We just blew the championship. We should have just kicked our field goal. I don't know why I went for that. I thought I had a read. I mean, we have all 3 of our timeouts, so we're still gonna get the ball back, but we're gonna have like no time left on the clock. If we get this around midfield, though, we might be able to get into field goal range even off of the return. All right, I'm not sure what to think about this coverage that they have out there right now, but we have a fade route. They were in cover 2, and Ray is gone to the crib. We're winning the championship. I've seen it all. I've had enough. We're not going to get another dumb loss at the end of the season to play another. And I can actually go to sleep at a normal time tonight. It is 1 a.m., but I feel like that is a lot sooner than what it could be. All we have to do is swat the ball down. It is over. We're going to stun on them if I could. This was a grind, but this is probably one of the best championships that we've won in a rebuild. And it feels so rewarding, especially after getting snubbed from the playoffs with that similar him lost to Washington State last year. We found a 3-star quarterback with elite development. He got us the championship we wanted. And I'm proud to say that I was able to complete all 6 challenges in this video. Somehow him, along with a lot of our roster, didn't make it to the NFL, which confuses me, but Josh D'Ampiro's up there. And what a moment for him and his dad to win a championship together. That's one of my favorite rebuilds that I've ever filmed. I feel like we overcame a lot. If you made it this far, drop a like and check out some of my other rebuilds too.